Nama or Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kunj Vihari Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Let's start this again. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Jai Vishnupada Brahmhamsa Parivajagacharya Satarashata Śrīmad Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. All glories to assembled ones. All glories to assembled ones. All glories to assembled ones. All glories to Shri Guru and Kaurava. Hare Krishna. Welcome to ISKCON Detroit morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. Best way to start off the day. So before we get started, we'll just say a quick prayer. If you'd like to join in. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayam Namaskritya.
Narayam Namaskritya.
Naram Cheva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Sarasatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswati Vyasam.
Tato Jayudirye.
Tato Jayudire.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
Hare Krishna. So today we are going to be reading from Canto 1, and it is chapter 15, which is the Pandavas retire timely, and it's text 15 as well. So 1:15:15. I think I'm going to say the word for word first and then go into the verse, because these are a little bit more complex and longer verses, so that we just understand what the words are and then we can put them together. So, is that okay? Sure. Is it okay? Okay. Yeah. It is he only.
It is he only.
Bhīṣma. Karṇa. Guru. Droṇacārya. Śalya. Shamushu. In the midst of the military phalanx.
In the midst of the military phalanx.
Adabhara. Immense. Rajanyavarya. Great royal princess. Ratha Mandala. Chain of chariots. Manditasu. Being decorated with. Agrechara. Going forward. Mama. Of mine. Vibho. O great king. Rathayuta. Panam. All the charioteers. Ayu. Duration of life or fruit of activities. Manamsi. Mental upsurges. Cha. Also. Drisha. By glance. Saha. Power. Oja. Strength. Archat. Withdrew. Okay, now we'll try to put the verse together. Yo Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Śva Dabra.
Yo Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Śva
Rajanyavarya Ratha Mandala Manditasu. Agre charo mama vibho ratha uthapanam. Ayurmanamasicha darsha saha acharat. Yo Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Śva Dabra.
Yo Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Śva
Rajanyavarya Ratha Mandala Manditasu. Agre charo mama vibho ratha uthapanam. Ayurmanamamsi cha drishasa oja acharat. Yo Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Śva Dabra.
Yo Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Śva
Rajanyavarya Ratha Mandala Manditasu. Agre charo mama vibho ratha uthapanam. Ayurmanamsi cha drisha sahaja oja charat.
Ayurmanam sichadrisha sahojachat.
Anyone would like to try?
Yo Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Chamasvadabra.
O Bhīṣma Karṇa Guru Śalya Chamusvadabra.
Rajanya Varya Ratamandala Manditasu.
Rajanya Varya Ratamandala Manditasu.
Agrecharo mama viborata yutapana.
Agrecharo mama viborata utapana.
Ayurmanam sichadrisha saha oja acha.
Ayurmanas manam sicha trisha oja acharat. Okay. Translation and purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupāda. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Translation. It is He only who withdrew the duration of life from everyone, and who, in the battlefield, withdrew the speculative power and strength of enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas, headed by Bhīṣma, Karṇa, Droṇa, Śalya, etc. Their arrangement was expert and more than adequate, but He, Lord Kṛṣṇa, while going forward, did all this. Please repeat. It was He only who withdrew the duration of life from everyone, and who in the battlefield withdrew the speculative power and strength of enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas, headed by Bhīṣma, Karṇa, Droṇa, and Śalya, etc. Their arrangement was expert and more than adequate. But He, Lord Kṛṣṇa, while going forward, did all this. Purport. The absolute personality of Godhead, Lord Kṛṣṇa, expands Himself by His plenary Paramātmā portion in everyone's heart, and thus He directs everyone in the matter of recollection, forgetfulness, knowledge, the absence of intelligence, and all psychological activities. Bhagavad Gita 15:15. As the Supreme Lord, He can increase or decrease the duration of life of a living being. Thus the Lord conducted the battle of Kurukṣetra according to His own plan. He wanted that battle to establish Yudhishthira as the emperor of this planet, and to facilitate this transcendental business, He killed all who were on the opposite party by His omnipotent will. The other party was equipped with all military strength, supported by big generals like Bhīṣma, Droṇa, and Śalya, and it would have been physically impossible for Arjuna to win the battle had the Lord not helped him by every kind of tactic. Such tactics are generally followed by every statesman, even in modern warfare, but they are all done materially by powerful espionage, military tactics, and diplomatic maneuvers. But because Arjuna was the Lord's affectionate devotee, the Lord did all this Himself without personal anxiety by Arjuna. That is the way of devotional service to the Lord. Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantika Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Just going to read the translation one more time. It was he only who withdrew the duration of life from everyone, and who, in the battlefield, withdrew the speculative power and strength of the enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas. Headed by Bhīṣma, Karṇa, Droṇa, Śalya, etc., their arrangement was expert and more than adequate, but he, Lord Kṛṣṇa, while going forward, did all this. Okay. Hare Krishna. So, as always, very powerful verses and purports, and especially in this one. So, as we know, as we are going through this particular chapter, the Pandavas are retiring timely, and Lord Kṛṣṇa has left this material world, right? And so forth. So this separation is starting to creep in, and what does that feel like? What does that mean to them? All of this is being described now in these past verses. And Arjuna is now taking this time, and he's remembering, Lord Kṛṣṇa and all the, the mercy, the blessings, everything that he's received, and what it felt like to be in the presence of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Now that he's gone, right? Anytime someone in our lives leaves, we have such strong remembrance of them that we want to hold on to. And so this is what's happening with Arjuna. So he's reflecting on this time on the battlefield of Kurukṣetra, right? They spent, it was a very significant turning point and, portion of their life, or Arjuna's life. And, externally, people will maybe think that the Pandavas won because of, maybe their military strength or their heroism or, by strategy or or even just their good fortune. But this is explaining to us that Arjuna doesn't think like that, right? So, and this is the sign of pure devotees, right? They don't ever take credit for themselves, that I did this, or by even some good fortune, I was able to do this and stuff. So Arjuna is understanding that the real cause of his particular victory, as it says here, it was he only. And who is this he? It is Lord Sri Krishna. And so this is like the central point of this verse today, right? It's not, Bhīṣma, who was like super strong. It's not about Arjuna, who was the expert warrior, right? Like we know how well he can do archery and all that. And what great, weapons and things he's received from the demigods, It's not about military intelligence, or any of that. It was he only. So here are the Pandavas on one side, right, on the battle of Kurukṣetra, and then you had the Kauravas on the other side. The Kaurava army was extraordinary. Like, we do not underestimate who the Kauravas were, right? And who was fighting on their side? I mean, they had Bhīṣma, Droṇacharya, right? Karṇa, Śalya, Kripacharya, like so many of them. You know, these were all like superior veterans of warfare, right? Like if you had the top of the top, right? These were Maharathis, like the strongest of warriors. So this is not like any just one side and another side, right? And even Arjuna here admits that their military arrangement was expert and more than adequate. More than adequate what? They could have easily beat the Pandavas, right? So from a material calculation, yes, the Pandavas should have lost, right? But yet they won. And why was this? It was only because Kṛṣṇa was present on the side of the Pandavas, right? When they had the choice, when Kṛṣṇa asked, you know, do you want my army or do you want me, right? You know, at that time, Duryodhana was like, oh, I'll take the army, right? And Arjuna was like, I'll take you, right? And so, you know, Duryodhana thought, oh, with the army, I'll be invincible and stuff. But really, the secret was that they had Kṛṣṇa on their side. So, Śrīla Prabhupāda often emphasizes that material calculations are never unlimited, right? The final factor is Kṛṣṇa's desire. So, material things, no matter what you have, are never ultimate, right? It is whatever Kṛṣṇa desires, it's what's going to happen. That is like the final say. So if Kṛṣṇa wants a weak person, can become very, very powerful. If Kṛṣṇa wants a very powerful person, can also become very weak, right? And if Kṛṣṇa wants the great empire to collapse overnight, you know, you bet it will happen and stuff. So therefore Kṛṣṇa says, or Arjuna says, that Kṛṣṇa withdrew the duration of life, their intelligence, their strength, their enthusiasm, you know, because there was nothing else that could reduce this. It was only Kṛṣṇa that could take that away from them on the opposite party. And so for Arjuna, this, and for us, this is a very profound, like, observation, right? Because in our lives, we go through so many material things, but any mercy or blessings or whatever that is happening within our lives, it is by He only. It is by Kṛṣṇa only. And stuff. So we often, even like we think like our intelligence can belong to us, you know, like our memory, mine's fading, but our memory also belongs to us, you know, our strength, you know, all these things. But actually Bhagavad Gita, as it says in this particular purport, it teaches us otherwise. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Lord Kṛṣṇa says, from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, right? So this verse perfectly explains what happened on this battlefield, right? The same Kṛṣṇa who gives intelligence can also take that intelligence away, right? And we saw that in many situations within the battlefield. The same Kṛṣṇa who gives the memory also can take your memory away. And the same Kṛṣṇa who gave the strength to these individuals, these powerful Maharishis, right, can also withdraw their strength. So, you know, Bhīṣma, who was most powerful, right, but because Kṛṣṇa allowed him to be powerful, right, it wasn't because he was Bhīṣma, it was because Kṛṣṇa gave him the power. Same thing with Droṇa. He was intelligent. He was most intelligent. But because Kṛṣṇa allowed him to be intelligent, right? He had that. And same thing with Karṇa. He was heroic, but it's because Kṛṣṇa allowed him to have that position of being a hero, like very heroic, right? But when Kṛṣṇa desires otherwise, their abilities become immediately ineffective. So we can also think a little bit in our lives too, how this plays, right? If we have some great extraordinary talent or something that we have, it is because of Krishna only, right? And if it goes away, if something in our lives goes away too, that is by the desire of Krishna as well too. So we see this playing in these examples that is given to us in Bhagavatam, but we can even see in our own life examples how this plays out. And in this meaning of Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Krishna is seated in everyone's heart, right? It says, so Krishna is not very distant. He's with you all the time. He's there when you're sleeping, eating, doing whatever he's with you. He's not some kind of distant God and like this far off, yes, he's in Golok Vrindavan too, but, he's right here. And he directs, right, the wanderings of every living entity, right? So our soul is in constant communication with the Lord if it wants to be, right? If we want to turn away from the Lord, we can, or if we want to face the Lord and work with him, we can as well too. So, and that we see that in today's world, all these materialistic, society that we live in, everyone is trying to act independently, right? That I can do it, I'm doing it, whatever it may be. But a devotee, the mentality we try to have, and when we come to Krishna consciousness, we try to learn and understand that without Krishna's sanction, I can't do anything. Right? If I wanted to lift my arm up right now without Krishna sanctioning it, I can't do it, right? Thank you, Krishna. Right? So this is the mentality, the consciousness that we start developing as we are in this movement. And this understanding actually creates humility, right? Which is very important for us in Krishna consciousness, is to develop this humility and stuff. When we understand that I am unable to do anything without the sanction of Krishna, without the mercy of Krishna, without Krishna's desire, and so forth, we realize our position as the eternal servant and develop this humility, that I don't have anything without Krishna. But with Krishna, he will allow me to do what he desires. So Arjuna was actually perhaps the greatest warrior in history, like when we look at him and stuff. But here, you see that he does not take any credit for being the greatest warrior that ever existed, right? And stuff. He gives all his credit to Krishna. In all these verses that we're reading, all the credit goes to Krishna. And that's another symptom of a devotee, right? There may be great things to celebrate and stuff, but we know that it's only by Śrīla Prabhupāda, by Krishna's mercy, that particular great thing that is happening is by their mercy and so forth. It is not that I did it. So, and that I factor is nothing but the false ego, right? And that was binding us here in this material world. So, the more advanced we become spiritually, the more we see Krishna's hand also in everything, right? The more we continue to hear and chant and purify and do devotional service, all of these things, we start to see how Krishna's hand is playing it within our lives. And there's actually another beautiful lesson in this particular verse. Krishna not only withdrew the power of the Kauravas, but he also supplied everything necessary to the Pandavas. Okay, so Krishna withdraws and Krishna gives, right? So, which brings us to another Bhagavad Gita verse, 9:22, in which Ananyas jantam yanto mam ya jana parupashyate desham nitya vyuktanam yoga sheshmam vayam aham. For those who worship me with exclusive devotion, I preserve what they have and carry what they lack. Such a powerful verse, right? I love this verse too. I love a lot of verses, but so those who worship me with exclusive devotion, And who's this worship? Worship Krishna with exclusive devotion. I, meaning Krishna, preserves what they lack or what they have and carries what they lack, right? So Krishna takes care of his devotees, right? And stuff. So in the battle of Kurukṣetra, it is, this is practically demonstrated, this particular verse. What did the Pandavas lack, right? I mean, they were great devotees, but what did they lack, right? In the battle, they lacked numerical superiority, right? Like they didn't have like all the armies and everything like the Pandava or the Kauravas had. Political influence. They were in exile, right? They didn't have they weren't kings or, they didn't have that. They didn't have the military strength. If you look at the other side, they were way stronger, right? Resources, all these things. So they lacked all of these things. But what did Krishna do? He carried what they lacked, right? Yoga sheshmam vahayam aham. What they did not possess, right? Or what did they possess? They possessed devotion, right? So the Pandavas had devotion unto Lord Kṛṣṇa. They had dependence unto Lord Kṛṣṇa. And they had faith in Krishna's instructions, right? So Krishna preserved all of those assets, right? And the devotee's life is based on these principles as well. So Krishna, he took care of the Pandavas, and we see that throughout Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, right? And if we look at different devotees' lives, if you look at Śrīla Prabhupāda's life, right? 70-year-old man coming on a ship, 2 heart attacks later, and stuff like that. I mean, did Krishna carry him, right? Right? Like, so, like anyone, all the struggle that Śrīla Prabhupāda went through and so forth, anyone would have given up, right? And stuff like that. But Krishna, he knew, he had full faith and devotion and dedication unto Krishna that he will carry what he will, oh my gosh, no. He will carry whatever he lacks, and he will preserve whatever he has. So, and even in our own lives, if we see that if we depend on our wealth or our education, influence, or any kind of social position we might have, right? These all can disappear within a moment. First of all, death will take everything away. But even then, like in material life, things can be reduced in an instant, right? A disease can come, finished, right? An accident can happen at any moment, right? Economic crisis, if we look at our political situation, so much stuff goes on there. Whether you like it or not, old age is going to come and get you too. So there's so many things, right? Everything material is temporary. But Krishna's protection never fails, right? And the devotee who's working sincerely and depending ultimately on Krishna, this dependence is not laziness either, right? It's not something that, oh, I can do whatever I want, Krishna will save me, right? It's not that kind of, or Krishna will protect me. It's not that, right? But if we sincerely work for Krishna and we show, through our actions, our mind, our body, everything, that we're servants of Krishna, that we're willing to serve Krishna, then and then Krishna will definitely protect. The Pandavas, we saw, they didn't sit down and say, oh, Krishna will do everything, right? Arjuna fought, Bhīṣma fought, Yudhishthira, right? He ruled responsibly, right? So everyone has to perform their duty. Everyone needs to do what they need to do, or their duty. But they knew who the result of that duty belonged to. It belongs to Krishna. And this is the balance. This is what, when we say balance, this is the balance that is taught in Bhagavad Gita. Right? So we do our duty with full sincerity, but we depend on Krishna for the success. Arjuna's remembrance here is especially important because Krishna has departed from this earthly vision. So when Krishna was here, right, and physically present, Krishna felt very strong. Like he was like, yeah, I can, invincible and so forth. Now that Krishna disappeared, right, Arjuna is feeling the separation and like his strength, it's almost like his strength is draining. And therefore, when he begins to remember Krishna's mercy, this is a great lesson for us, because in difficult times, if we remember Krishna's past kindness and what Krishna has done for us, remembering how Krishna protects us, how he guides us, remembering that even the ability to participate in devotional service is arranged by Krishna, remembering the strength he gives us, by having faith in him. All of these things, this faith, it brings us closer to Krishna. So this closeness and separation, right, is happening, right? When we separate for someone, sometimes we even feel closer to them. We take for granted some things that are close to us, right? So through this separation, we can even feel more close to Krishna and so forth. And Krishna resides in our heart, but still yet we're separated from him, right? And stuff. So we depend, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us this Vipralambha Seva, right? This separation, love and separation. That is by his example that we see. Sorry, I kept going. This ultimate message of this particular verse is that Krishna is actually the real doer, right? He's the one who's doing everything and stuff, whether it's giving us intelligence, strength, remembrance, all this stuff. He gave the Pandavas victory and stuff. And it's when he desires, because he can immediately withdraw everything. So therefore, as devotees, it helps us keep our pride in check, right? We should not become proud. Instead, we should think that the abilities that I have is a gift from Krishna. And whatever service I perform, it is only possible with Krishna's mercy. And whatever successes come to me, it's an arrangement by Krishna, right? He put all the pieces together in the puzzle for me. And this consciousness attracts, if we maintain this consciousness, this is what attracts Krishna's mercy. The more we can try to maintain this consciousness, the more we can get mercy we receive from Krishna. So 3 lessons. Number 1, all ability ultimately comes from Krishna, which we see in 15:15. Second, material power without Krishna cannot save anyone, as demonstrated by Kauravas, right? They were defeated, regardless of all the material opulences they had and strength. Third, Krishna personally preserves what his devotees have and carries what they lack, in 9:22. So if you ever felt you're not cared for, read 9:22. Krishna will take care. And therefore, our real security is not in material arrangements. It comes when we surrender to Krishna. So if we can take a few words away, it was he only. Remember, it was he only. So whatever successes we have in our devotional life, whatever opportunities we receive, and so forth, it is due to the mercy of Krishna. So, and even this protection, I know we spoke about protection yesterday, protection of a father, Krishna being our ultimate father, right? This is the protection and how we receive that protection. So, thank you very much. Please forgive me if I misstated anything in my Sanskrit pronunciation. So, Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts or comments?
Nice class, madam.
Yes. 9:22, is that Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
I'll make sure I keep print it up.
Yeah. So 2 Bhagavad Gita verses relating to this particular Bhagavatam verse, 15:15.
Okay.
And this happens to be chapter 15, text 15 and stuff. So, and then also 9:22 from Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So just references to those 2 verses. So, well, you'll see, like, as you read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and even if when you read Bhagavad Gita, they all, like, you know, reference each other constantly and stuff. So the lessons in Bhagavad Gita are like given as the examples in Bhagavatam. And from Bhagavatam, the examples we receive, then, yeah, and same with Chaitanya Charitamrita. They're all intertwined. Yes.
I absolutely loved hearing about just how anything that we can imagine that we want that Krishna holds that and feels that.
Yeah.
For us. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. So many things, like in life, like, you know, when we talk about struggles and we talk about like not having abilities and this and that, like, yes, Krishna can take it away, but at the same time, he can also give back, you know, and make sure. And Krishna does what's good for us too, right? Some things may, you know, oh, I want $1 million and stuff, but it may not be good for me, right? Spiritually. And so he may not necessarily give it to me and stuff, but he will still carry, you know, what I lack. He will still protect me. If I have that strong faith in me, you know, that ability, he will take care. He will take care. So. Thank you.
Thanks for the wonderful class.
What is it?
Thanks for the wonderful class.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, Krishna is the doer, everything. Until and unless he sanctions, nothing is fun.
Yeah.
Even a blade of grass cannot turn. So,
Yeah.
It's very important to understand. Yeah, many times we think like, oh, we do that, we do this, but eventually our plans fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if our plans fail, it's still mercy of Krishna.
That's a good sign for us.
Yes, because again, sometimes like, you know, if the door shuts, you never know, but Krishna might be opening several other doors for you and stuff because that one particular shut, because it may not have been good for me, or something might have been there that would have caused like some other issue or whatever, or fall down, or who knows and stuff. So we just, to maintain that faith, right? And in Krishna consciousness, in order for us to maintain that faith, it's important that we keep with the association of devotees. It's important that we hear and read and chant, right? By purifying our heart, these things will start coming up, you know, in our consciousness and stuff. And even eating Krishna Prasadam helps in this purification process, right? So following the ABCDs of Krishna consciousness helps in strengthening our faith and stuff. But definitely taking association of devotees, taking association of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and stuff. It helps us in that understanding as well. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Gandharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Hare Krishna.